Reading through the Bible in a year, September 20th, 2 Samuel chapter 16, 2 Corinthians chapter 9, Ezekiel 23, and Psalms 70 through 71. Now David had passed a little beyond the summit, and behold, Ziba, the young man of Mephibosheth, met him with a couple saddled donkeys, and on them were 200 loaves of bread, 100 clusters of raisins, 100 summer fruits, and a jug of wine. And the king said to Ziba, "Why do you have these?" And Ziba said, "The donkeys are for the king's household to ride, and the bread and summer fruit are for the young men to eat, and the wine for whoever is faint in the wilderness to drink." Then the king said, "Where is your master's son?" And Ziba said to the king, "Behold, he is staying in Jerusalem." For he said, "Today the house of Israel will return the kingdom of my father to me." So the king said to Ziba, "Behold, all that belongs to Mephibosheth is yours." And Ziba said, "I prostrate myself. Let me find favor in your sight, O my lord the king." And King David came to Bahurim, and behold, there came out of there a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera, and he came out cursing continually as he came. Remember, the family of, what's his name? The family of Saul and the lineage of Saul believed that they were going to be the ones who were going to be kings forever, and that it was going to be through their line, but God chose David and his line to be the one through whom the kings would come. This is related to that. Verse 7, "And thus said Shimei when he cursed, get out, you man of bloodshed and vile fellow. Yahweh has returned upon you all the bloodshed of the house of Saul, in whose place you have reigned. And Yahweh has given the kingdom into the hand of your son Absalom. And behold, you are taken in your own evil, for you are a man of bloodshed." Then Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, said to the king, "Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me pass over now and remove his head." But the king said, What have I to do with you, O sons of Zeruiah? If he curses, and if Yahweh has told him, curse David, then who shall say, why have you done so? Then David said to Abishai and to all his servants, "Behold, my son, who came forth from my own body, seeks my life. How much more now this Benjamite? Let him alone, and let him curse, for Yahweh has told him. Perhaps Yahweh will look on my affliction and return good to me instead of his cursing this day." So David and his men went on the way, and Shimei went along the hillside parallel with him, and as he went he cursed and cast stones and threw dust at him. Then the king and all the people who were with him arrived weary, and he refreshed himself there. Now Absalom and all the people and the men of Israel had entered Jerusalem, and Ahithophel with him. And it happened that when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, came to Absalom, that Hushai said to Absalom, "Long live the king! Long live the king!" And Absalom said to Hushai, "Is this your loving kindness to your friend? Why did you not go with your friend?" Then Hushai said to Absalom, "No, for whom Yahweh, this people, and the men of Israel have chosen, his I will be, and with him I will remain. Besides, whom should I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his son, as I have served in your father's presence? So I will serve in your presence." And Ahithophel said to Absalom, "Go into your father's concubines, whom he has left to keep the house. Then all Israel will hear that you have made yourself odious to your father. The hands of all who are with you will also be strengthened." Like I said, this is a normal thing to happen in the succession of kings. So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. If you remember, this was something that they had actually said beforehand would happen, that God had told him would happen. See, 2 Samuel chapter 12, verses 11 and 12. Now, the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if one asked the word of God. So was the counsel of Ahithophel regarded by both David and Absalom. Now 2 Corinthians chapter 9. Paul now continues, "For it is superfluous for me to write to you about this ministry to the saints. For I know your readiness, of which I boast about you to the Macedonians, that Achaia has been prepared since last year, and your zeal stirred up most of them. But I have sent the brothers in order that our boasting about you may not be made empty in this case, so that, as I was saying, you may be prepared. Lest if any Macedonians come with me and find you unprepared, we, not to speak of you, be put to shame in this certainty of ours. So I regarded it necessary to encourage the brothers that they would go on ahead to you and arrange beforehand your previously promised blessing, so that the time would be ready, so that the same would be ready as a blessing and not as a begrudging obligation. Now, this I say, he who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he who sows with blessing will also reap with blessing. Each one must do just as he has purposed in his heart, not grudgingly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make every grace abound to you, so that in everything, at every time, having sufficiency, you may have an abundance for every good deed. As it is written, He scattered abroad, He gave to the needy, His righteousness stands forever. Now, he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your seed and increase the harvest of your righteousness. You will be enriched in everything for all generosity, which through us is bringing about the thanksgiving of God. For the ministry of this service is not only fully supporting the needs of the saints, but is also abounding through many thanksgivings to God. Because of the proven character given by this ministry, they will glorify God for your obedience to your confession of the gospel of Christ, and for the generosity of your fellowship toward them and toward all, while they also, by prayer on your behalf, long for you because of the surpassing grace of God on you. Thanks be to God for His indescribable gift." Let's go on now to Ezekiel 23. The word of Yahweh came to me again, saying, "Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of one mother, and they played the harlot in Egypt. They played the harlot in their youth. There their breasts were pressed, and their virgin bosom was handled. Their names were Oholah the elder, and Aholibah her sister. And they became mine, and they bore sons and daughters. And as for their names, Samaria is Oholah, and Jerusalem is Aholibah. Aholah played the harlot while she was mine, and she lusted after her lovers, after the Assyrians, her neighbors, who were clothed in purple, governors and officials, all of them desirable young men, horsemen riding on horses. She gave her harlotries to them, all of them the choicest men of Assyria, and with all whom she lusted after, with all their idols she defiled herself. She did not forsake her harlotries from the time of Egypt, for in her youth men had lain with her, and they handled her virgin bosom, and poured out their harlotry on her. Therefore I gave her into the hand of her lovers, into the hand of the Assyrians, after whom she lusted. They uncovered her nakedness. They took her sons and her daughters, but they killed her with the sword. Thus she became a despised name among women, and they executed judgments on her. Now her sister, Aholibah, Jerusalem, saw this. Yet she was more corrupt in her lust than she, and her harlotries were more than the harlotries of her sister. She lusted after the Assyrians, governors and officials, the ones near, magnificently dressed, horsemen riding on horses, all of them desirable, choice men. And I saw that she had defiled herself. They both took the same way. So she increased her harlotries. And she saw men portrayed on the wall, images of the Chaldeans portrayed with vermilion. girded with belts on their loins, with flowing turbans on their heads, all of them looking like officers in the likeness of the Babylonians in Chaldea, the land of their birth. And she saw them, and lusted after them, and sent messengers to them in Chaldea. So the Babylonians came to her, to the bed of love, and defiled her with their harlotry. She became defiled by them, and her soul became disgusted with them. And she uncovered her harlotries, and uncovered her nakedness. Then my soul became disgusted with her, as my soul had been disgusted with her sister. Yet she multiplied her harlotries, remembering the days of her youth when she played the harlot in the land of Egypt. She lusted after their paramours, whose flesh is like the flesh of donkeys, and whose issue is like the issue of horses. Thus you longed for the lewdness of your youth, when the Egyptians handled your bosom because of the breasts of your youth. Therefore, O Oholibah, Jerusalem, thus says Lord Yahweh, behold, I will arouse your lovers against you, those with whom your soul was disgusted. And I will bring them against you from every side, the Babylonians and all the Chaldeans, Pekod and Shoa and Koa, and all the Assyrians with them, desirable choice men, governors and officials, all of them, officers and men of renown, all of them riding on horses. And they will come against you with weapons, chariots and wagons, and with an assembly of peoples. And they will set themselves against you on every side with large shield and helmet. And I will give the judgment to them, and they will judge you according to their judgments. And I will set my jealousy against you, that they may deal with you in wrath. They will remove your nose and your ears, and your survivors will fall by the sword. They will take your sons and your daughters, and your survivors will be consumed by the fire. They will also strip you of your clothing, and take away your beautiful jewelry. Thus I will make your lewdness and your harlotry brought from the land of Egypt to cease from you, so that you will not lift up your eyes to them or remember Egypt any more. For thus says Lord Yahweh, behold, I will give you into the hand of those whom you hate, into the hand of those with whom your soul was disgusted, and they will deal with you in hatred. They will take all the fruit of your labor and leave you naked and bare, and the nakedness of your harlotries will be uncovered, both your lewdness and your harlotries. These things will be done to you, because you have played the harlot with the nations, because you have defiled yourself with their idols. You have walked in the way of your sister. Therefore, I will give her cup into your hand. Thus says Lord Yahweh, you will drink your sister's cup, which is deep and wide, and you will be laughed at and held in derision. It contains much. And you will be filled with drunkenness and sorrow, the cup of horror and desolation, the cup of your sister Samaria. You will drink it and drain it. Then you will gnaw on its dregs, on its fragments, and tear your breast, for I have spoken, declares Lord Yahweh. Therefore, thus says Lord Yahweh, because you have forgotten me, and cast me behind your back, bear now the punishment of your lewdness and your harlotries. Moreover, Yahweh said to me, Son of man, will you judge Aholah, Samaria, and Oholibah, Jerusalem? Then declare to them their abominations, for they have committed adultery, and blood is on their hands. Thus they have committed adultery with their idols, and even caused their sons, whom they bore to me, to pass through the fire to them as food. Again, they have done this to me. They have defiled my sanctuary on the same day, and profaned my Sabbaths. For when they had slaughtered their children for their idols, they entered my sanctuary on the same day to profane it, and behold, thus they did within my house. Furthermore, they have even sent for men to come from afar, who come from afar, to whom a messenger was sent. For behold, they came, for whom you bathed, painted your eyes, and decorated yourselves with ornaments. And you sat on a splendid couch, with a table arranged before it, on which you had set my incense and my oil. The sound of a multitude was at ease with her, And drunkards were brought from the wilderness with men of the common sort. And they put bracelets on the hands of the women, and beautiful crowns on their heads. Then I said concerning her who was worn out by adulteries, will they now commit harlotry with her when she is thus? But they went into her, as they would go into a harlot. Thus they went into Aholah and Aholibah, the lewd women. But they, righteous men, will judge them with the judgment of adulteresses, and with the judgment of women who shed blood, because they are adulteresses, and blood is on their hands. For thus says Lord Yahweh, bring up an assembly against them, and give them over to terror and to plunder. The assembly will stone them with stones and cut them down with their swords, and they will kill their sons and their daughters, and burn their houses with fire. Thus I will make lewdness cease from the land, that all women may be chastised and not commit lewdness as you have done. Your lewdness will be requited upon you, and you will bear the sin of worshiping your idols. Thus you will know that I am Lord Yahweh. Let's conclude today in Psalms 70 and 71. O God, hasten to deliver me. O Yahweh, hasten to my help. Let those be ashamed and humiliated who seek my life. Let those be turned back and dishonored who delight in evil against me. Let those turn back because of their shame who say, Aha, aha! Let those be joyful and glad in you, all who seek you. And let them say continually, let God be magnified. But I am afflicted and needy. Hasten to me, O God. You are my help and my protector. O Yahweh, do not delay. Now Psalm 71. In you, O Yahweh, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. In your righteousness, deliver me and protect me. Incline your ear to me and save me. Be to me a rock of habitation, to which I may continually come. You have given the command to save me, for you are my rock and my fortress. Protect me, O God, out of the hand of the wicked, out of the grasp of the unrighteous and ruthless man, for you are my hope. O Lord Yahweh, you are my trust from my youth. By you I have been sustained from my birth. You are he who took me from my mother's womb. My praise is continually of you. I have become a marvel to many, for you are my strong refuge. My mouth is filled with your praise and with your beauty all day long. Do not cast me off in the time of old age. Do not forsake me when my strength fails. For my enemies have spoken against me, and those who watch my life have counseled together, saying, God has forsaken him. Pursue and seize him, for there is no one to deliver. O God, do not be far from me. O my God, hasten to my help. Let those who accuse my soul be ashamed and consumed. Let them be wrapped up with reproach and dishonor, who seek to do me evil. But as for me, I will wait continually, and I will praise you yet more and more. My mouth shall recount your righteousness and of your salvation all day long. For I do not know the sum of them. I will come with the mighty deeds of the Lord Yahweh, and I will bring remembrance to your righteousness, yours alone. O God, you have taught me from my youth, and I still declare your wondrous deeds. Even when I am old and gray, O God, do not forsake me until I declare your strength to this generation, your might to all who are to come. For your righteousness, O God, reaches to the heavens. You who have done great things, O God, who is like you? You have shown me many troubles and evils. Starting over. You who have shown me many troubles and evils will revive me again and will bring me up again from the depths of the earth. May you increase my greatness and turn to comfort me. I will also praise you with the harp, even your truth, O my God. To you I will sing praises with the lyre, the Holy One of Israel. My lips will sing for joy when I sing praises to you, and my soul which you have redeemed. My tongue also will utter your righteousness all day long. For they are ashamed, for they are humiliated, who seek to do me evil. That's all for today. That's all the reading and all the notes. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold, the word of the Lord.